This episode is for educational purposes and commentary only. It is not medical or legal advice. Watching this content does not create a physician-patient or attorney-client relationship. When I discuss lawsuits or court decisions, I'm relying on publicly available records, and I will distinguish allegations from findings. My analysis reflects my opinions about risk, systems, and documentation, not personal judgments about any individual. To protect privacy, I may omit or change identifying details where appropriate. If you need medical or legal advice for your situation, consult a qualified professional. If this is a medical emergency, call 911 or your local emergency number. The test gets ordered. The sample gets processed. The scan gets read. Everyone assumes the result reached the right person. But in case after case, that final mile fails. In this episode, we walk through 4 real malpractice cases where the dangerous moment wasn't ordering the test. It was what happened after the result came back. Different states, different specialties, same pattern. Abnormal information existed, but communication and ownership broke down.
A middle-aged man notices a growth on the back of his neck. He dismisses it at first. After a few months, it has grown. He sees his doctor, who reassures him but refers him to a surgeon to remove it. The patient meets the surgeon. They agree to remove the growth, and surgery is scheduled. In early 2000, the patient undergoes surgery to remove a large tumor from his neck. The preliminary pathology report sounds reassuring. Benign. Then the final pathology report arrives a few weeks later and changes the story.
According to court records, the final report indicates the tumor is malignant and recommends close follow-up with his doctor to discuss next steps. And this is where the thread thins. The patient later says he was never told about that final malignant finding. Life moves forward. Years pass. Then a recurrence triggers a records request. That is when he says he first learns what the final pathology had shown all along. Picture that moment as a patient, believing one version of your diagnosis for years, then reading a report that suggests a very different risk. He files suit later that year, but the State Court of Appeals affirms dismissal under the state's medical malpractice statute of repose, a hard deadline that can bar claims even when the injury is discovered later. These deadlines vary by state and may include both a statute of limitations and a statute of repose.
It's not clear whether learning the final pathology earlier would have changed the treatment plan. If the entire growth was removed with clear margins, the conversation might have been about closer surveillance to monitor for recurrence. If malignant cells were present at the margins, additional surgery or other therapy might have been warranted. The point I'm making isn't whether the patient ultimately suffered harm from not knowing, it's that the information never making it back to the patient puts the physician in a very difficult position, and it's hard to defend. Make sure you have a system to follow up on final pathology results. In many cases, the patient is discharged before the report is available. In an outpatient case like this, it's easy for patients to get lost to follow up.
The legal outcome in this case turned on timing, not on a jury hearing the full clinical narrative. This case is the first warning sign. Delayed or failed result communication can harm patients and is very difficult to defend.
This first case timeline is why I tell teams this. Preliminary results are not closure. The final result owns the case. If your workflow doesn't force explicit ownership for final review and patient notification, you're relying on memory and luck.
Now we shift to our second case, a small southern town. An older man develops worsening back pain. His primary care physician diagnoses anemia, and that workup is ongoing. Imaging of his lower back shows what appears to be a compression fracture. He's referred for a routine kyphoplasty. Kyphoplasty is a minimally invasive procedure used to stabilize a vertebral compression fracture, often by creating space with a small balloon and injecting bone cement to restore strength.
The final biopsy report was alleged to show plasma cells consistent with multiple myeloma. The report is generated, routed, received,